Alcoholics Anonymous means to me, in order to get things I never had, I have to do things I never did. When I first come in, I have to stop drinking, and then I have to work the steps, and then I have to have uncomfortable conversations to become a better person. And then I work on my character defects, and then I work on praying and meditating. All these things I've never done in my life, I have to do. AA means to me being a different person. It means the death of self. It means so much more than just stop drinking, but it means to me that this is when my life actually started.
I heard it through the grapevine.
Welcome. It's the AA Grapevine half-hour variety hour featuring the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. I'm Don, an alcoholic in Greensboro, North Carolina.
Hey, Don. I'm Olis, an alcoholic in Oakland, California.
Hi, Olis. What is your favorite AA acronym?
There are so many.
I know, there's tons.
It's AA, like people just are throwing them out. I think my favorite might be God, right? It's good orderly direction.
Yeah, that's mine. That's my favorite. And also group of drunks. Well, we had a listener, Joe I, who sent us a letter, and in it he had a great acronym for the word relationship.
RELATIONSHIP. That's a lot of letters, man. Come on, what is it, Don?
Yeah, relationship. Real exciting love affair turned into outrageous nightmare. Sobriety hangs in peril.
We're going to hear more from Joe a little bit later on today. But first, Don, who is our guest?
Today's guest is Elizabeth F. from Alexandria, Virginia. No Matter What, Dealing with Adversity and Sobriety is a grapevine book full of powerful stories of AA members about using the tools in the fellowship to get through the tough times in sobriety. It includes helpful stories about illness, divorce, financial loss, death of a child or sponsor, house fires, and more. Great for members going through difficult times. Find it under books in the Grapevine store, online, or in the app.
Yeah, hi, I'm an alcoholic. My name is Elizabeth F. I am in Alexandria, Virginia. My home group is called Old Town Big Buck. We meet Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. If you're ever in town, come see us. Essentially, we go around the room, we read the big book, and then we have a speaker lead on it, and then we are open to sharing.
Nice. And when did you get sober, Elizabeth?
Yeah, so I got sober for hopefully the final time, November 14th, 2022.
Nice. And when you say final time, Elizabeth, that means that you are one of the people that we all appreciate, which is you went out and did more research and came back and told us it doesn't work, right?
I probably can write a dissertation.
When did you first get to AA?
Yeah, so I came in through a mental institute. I was on a bender. I was drinking vodka straight for like 24 hours. I jumped out of a moving car.
Mm.
Yeah, I woke up in the hospital and I was trying to fight a nurse. I woke up in the hospital. And then from there, they took me to the mental institution. It's in Williamsburg, Virginia. And that was the first time that I was told I was an alcoholic. At first, I just thought I was like a party girl. I partied too hard, I partied too much.
It's just partying.
So it wasn't my first time in there. And so I kind of knew like how to get out really fast, or at least I thought it was. It was my second time, not at that one, but another center I went to. And I would go up to them and I would be like, listen, you guys have made a grave mistake. Let me help you out here.
I'm not like the other crazy people.
I am not crazy. I was just drunk.
Well, in the big book, it talks about hospitals and asylums.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it can throw people off, but it sounds like to you it didn't throw you off. I mean, it's your experience.
Yes, not at all. And it's funny because when I said that to the doctor, the first time they was like, okay, we'll get you out here in 3 days. But this doctor, when I said to him, I said, listen, you made a grave mistake. You just let me go after lunch. I was just drunk. I'm not crazy. And, he looked at me. He was like, yeah, I know you're an alcoholic. And I remember I started crying because I never knew what it looked like. I didn't know the signs. I didn't understand it. I didn't even put it together that like, oh, when I start drinking, I can't stop. Maybe I'm alcoholic, right? Although I grew up in like the DARE program, and so they like explained it to us, and none of it registered until he said it to me, and I felt such a sigh of relief that I actually knew what was going on. Because
What's the DARE program?
oh my God, I'll sing it. D, I won't do drugs. A, I have an attitude. R, I will respect myself. E, I will educate you now. And I still remember that and still was an alcoholic.
Wow.
I sung that song all in middle school. And essentially, I know, it probably was some type of program pushed out in the 90s to get students and kids to stop doing drugs and drinking. And it didn't work, but I do now have a nice song to sing. An anonym, what we was talking about earlier. There we go.
Yeah,
There's another
yeah,
one.
yeah. So, what happened to you the last time that you quit drinking, and what was going on inside of you? How did you decide this is for real? I really have to quit.
After I got out the hospital, with the institution, they told me to go to AA. And so I did. I went to AA and I went for like 30 days down in Newport News, Virginia. And I did not share. I did not get a number. I did not pay attention. I was on my phone the whole time. I got 30 days sober and I took that chip to the bar. And like I showed her, I was like, look, I like passed it around the bar. It was crazy.
I proved that I'm not a drunk.
Yeah, I graduated myself. I was like, oh, I passed, so I'm good.
Right.
Show you, doctor. And it's interesting because every year after that, I would come to AA just once. Like I was miserable, I was dying. I would come into AA. Somebody pointed out to me, they was like, why did you just always, you kept coming? Like, why did you do that? And I, to this day, I don't know. I like to think it was God nudging me.
Were you drinking in between?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I would get in trouble, or somebody would break up with me, or yell at me about cheating, or, throwing up, or something embarrassing would happen. But I don't know why I was never desperate enough yet to confide myself to AA, right? I always thought it was another plan. Like I had a plan B in my pocket. But now I know there's no plan B. Like AA has to work for me. And that's why I work it to the full ability that I do. What happened this last time, I was going on my last hurrah, right? And it's so interesting. I always was like, this is the last hurrah. So I went all out. I got me a nice hotel room. I got nice drinks. I got nice substances. We're going to keep it
We're
there.
going to keep it classy.
And I decided to party, party, party. And that night, maybe around 2, 3 in the morning, I heard this pop. And I was like, that's interesting. And I knew what it was. I'll get back to that, but I knew what that pop was. And I kept drinking and I kept doing the substances. And 3 days later, I was working and I couldn't breathe. And I went to the hospital and they told me I collapsed my lung.
Mm.
Yeah. And so it's called a pneumothorax.
You knew you had collapsed your lung.
I knew I was collapsing my lung, but what am I going to do?
Man, we got this hotel room.
How did you collapse your lung?
Yeah, so it's interesting. My lung is a little bit more collapsible than the average lung.
Uh,
And the condition comes out in women my age between 29 and 31. And so I went to the hospital finally. They explained to me, it's like, Elizabeth, listen, you're going to surgery. And I was like, no, I'm not. All in my mind, I know I'm going immediately to a bar. And I left the hospital and I went to the first bar I could find and I immediately got drunk.
I mean, the thing, Elizabeth, that I so appreciate about it took me 5 years of coming in and out, and I'd come back to AA when things got bad, like, oh, I got a plan B. I ain't using it, but I got a plan B. But I also love you talking about, we tried this intervention as a society, DARE. We go into schools, we send police officers, and they teach us what? A song that actually doesn't get internalized because the illness that we have, it doesn't allow us to think that's us. That's somebody else. That's not me. And then here you are, even much further down the road with a collapsed lung. And you're like, I'm going where? To the bar. Like the illness that we have is overwhelming. To anybody that's new that is doing what Elizabeth was doing, right? Which many of us have done, checking it out, but not admitting we really belong here, thinking that we graduated just because we didn't drink for some short period of time. Man, come all the way in.
Yeah, for me, it took a physical bottom, but I like to think that I hit all of the bottoms, mental, spiritual, and physical. And it's interesting because I hear this terminology a lot in the area I live in. It's very affluent. And it's like, oh, well, I was a high bottom drunk. I would have never came in if I didn't get so low.
Alcoholism is an elevator going down, and we can get off on any floor. It's not necessary to ride it all the way to the bottom.
And the truth is, I can't tell where I am.
No.
The book of Alcoholics Anonymous, in the back, the stories are broken up into the three parts, right? They're the founders, the pioneers, right? There's not going to be any more people added to that. Those are the people from the beginning. And then there are the people who almost lost it all. And then there's the people who like, whoo, Lord, like gusto, bravado. I lived in a dumpster and all that. And I thought, oh, I'm not a real alcoholic. So I was going around saying I was a high bottom alcoholic. And a member in the program was like, Alice, you started drinking at 4 years old. What are you talking about? The people, Elizabeth, who think they're high bottoms, if they had a different perspective, they'd see.
Yeah.
I lost my dignity.
And I think it's important to have both people in the program, right? Because in step one, Bill talks about, hey, we're trying to catch young people before it gets too bad. We're trying to catch people who still have the car in their garage, still have the house. So it's so important that there's so many types of people, high bottom. I don't know, maybe we'll start saying medium bottom, right? If you don't know where you're at.
How about just bottom?
Right. And then low bottom. And a member from my home group, Charles, I love that he said he called them the not yets.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that was very influential for me. And I love, Alice, how you talked about the different stories in the big book. And my friend Julia, her sponsor, gave her the assignment that, you read all the stories in the big book and you find your story. And at the time, I was like, well, there's no way I'm going to find my story. Who else, collapsed their lung and kept drinking and using? And lo and behold, I was in my home group and we reread my story. And so it's called A Vision of Recovery. On page, it's the Micmac Indian. It's so funny because it has the word in there that everybody mispronounces, like boogaloogaloo. So, and then everybody laughs when we read this story. On page 497, he says, one evening during a party at my home, an argument led to fighting as usual. One of my brothers stabbed me in the back with a knife, and I fell to the floor unconscious. I came into the hospital. They told me that one lung had collapsed, and they had a drain in my lung that came out the side of my body. That they did the same thing for me as well. It's miserable to sleep through.
Oh my gosh.
The very next day, some friends came to visit me, bringing a bottle of liquor. I still had that pride. I was still a tough guy. I lay there in bed with tubes draining my lung and smoked cigarettes and drank liquor.
Did you smoke and drink?
I didn't smoke in my hospital bed. So I got out the hospital. I went to the nearest bar. And unfortunately, this is the sad part. I drove 2 hours intoxicated to the hospital here in Alexandria, Virginia. So selfish because the surgeons were waiting on me and they could have been helping other people. And when I get there, they're like, where are you at? And the first thing I'm asking for is pain medicine because I'm in pain. Me, 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 me. And so I have the surgery. I wake up the next day. And of course, I'm all spiritual. It's funny, my friend Eugene says, everybody gets very spiritual when they're in pain. I was like, this is over. I'm never doing this again.
You get spiritual when you realize that you can die.
I made it 3 days after surgery. I still had stitches it's on my right side, so I still had stitches in me, and I was right back at the bar, and I was drinking and doing the same substance that helped my lung collapse
Yep.
3 days later.
You know what I love is at the end of that paragraph that you read, he says later in AA, I had the nerve to question step two and wondered why I had to be restored to sanity. Because our behavior's insane.
Step 2, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. That's talking about higher power. Was that an obstacle for you?
So when I first came in, no, it was not an obstacle. But at that time that I'm at the bars, right, and I lived like that for about another month. At that time, I kind of gave up on myself. I gave up on life. You know, it's interesting. This is my sponsor, Heather. When we read Bill's story, she had me underline everywhere where I related. And so I have my sponsees, they do that too. And I'm so grateful because I'm like, what do I have in common with this, 1930s stockbroker?
Yeah.
And yeah, and if you see my book, there's highlights. I like literally, there's highlights everywhere. And Bill goes through this. He goes when the stock market is crashing and everybody is leaping to their death.
From
He's
the powers of high finance.
yes. Everybody's leaping to their death. Bill goes, I'm not going to jump. That's cowardly. I'm just going to go back to the bar. When in itself is a suicide on its own, right? It's a slower death.
Lower down.
And so I just was like, you know what? I'm done. If a lung surgery can't get me sober, if collapse of my lung can't get me sober, if these institutes can't get me sober, if jail can't get me sober, then what is there to live for? I'm never going to get sober. And later I found out that AA was the solution. AA is the only thing that has worked for me. And having a higher power has relieved me of the obsession to drink.
I just really love your walkthrough coming here, but not doing the program. And then coming to a place where you're like, this is it. Talk to us a little bit about how you stay sober today. What does it look like today in your life?
Well, I do AA podcast. Right?
Shay.
You say yes when asked.
Yeah. Part of for me to stay sober is that if I see somebody in a room that I've never seen before, I go to the same meetings. I always introduce myself. I always go up to
Yes.
them. I say, hi, how are you doing? I talk to them. And a lot of people have told me, it was like, I'm so grateful that you did that to me. And so that's part of me staying sober.
When I asked you, like, how do you do it? You said the responsibility pledge. You said, I want to be the hand to AA when somebody reaches out because it worked for me. I want to be the person that welcomes people in. And I think the book is Alcoholics Anonymous is very clear about this. The thing that works without question is helping somebody else.
So I did the 90 and 90. I got a home group, Old Town Big Book. I got a service position. My first service position was chips. And then I went to coffee. And then I pray. I go to an 11-step meeting on Sundays at 7 o'clock here in Alexandria. It's at Flounder. And the prayer and meditation part, I believe in it so much because it actually worked. I was told to pray, and the obsession to drink and drug, it left me immediately. I was relieved of it. And I believe in the power of prayer, but also I believe in the power of not praying too. I know what my life looks like when I'm not praying, and I know what it looks like when I'm praying. And so I think those are like the pillars of my program.
It's trying something different because the way that I tried to manage my life didn't work. And I proved that to myself.
Yeah, and for me too, my service position. So I'm very active in AA. So I am District 45 secretary.
District 45 is
Area 71, so Virginia, Alexandria.
Virginia.
And I have a service sponsor. So somebody recommend
Wait a minute. What is a service sponsor in simple terms?
A sponsor is somebody who walks you through, the 12 steps and help guide you in recovery. And a service sponsor is somebody who walks you through the concepts and the traditions, and then they kind of guide you in GSR level and GSO level service. So area level service. She's just somebody I can call and says like, hey, there's God in the group conscience. She talks me down from my impulsivity, and I'm very proud of it. But most of all, the service sponsor, I think she does such a good job of keeping us humble.
Yes, because what you learn in service work, I mean, what I've learned in service work is it's ego deflation at depth.
Yeah.
Surrendering my idea of how everything should be run to the group. Elizabeth, you're so full of energy, and it's wonderful talking to you. Stay with us. We're going to have some listener feedback, and we want you to chime in on maybe some responses if you feel like it.
Sounds great, Don.
Now it's time for listener feedback.
In an email from Joe I. in Southwick, Massachusetts, Area 31, he refers back to our May 12th, 2025 episode. Under the subject line, heard at a meeting and misheard at a meeting, he shares.
Hi all. Love the service work y'all are doing. Keep it up. Love the new segment, Misheard at a Meeting. For me, it's the combination of humor and wisdom that comes from Mondegreens that keeps me coming back to AA. Now some misheard and objectively misspoken quotes from the big book that are worthy of note. These are good. I've read this already. Page 25 from the big book. Our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous. It's the verb that's different. Instead of our Creator has entered into our hearts and lives in a way which is indeed miraculous. Life, the noun. I've heard readers pronounce it both ways. The meaning is profound either way. I always say hearts and lives.
Lives for me too.
They both work.
And they're both profound.
Yeah, then they both are.
Yeah, I want my creator in my life, and I want my creator to live in me. So
Yeah.
good both ways. As long as my creator is part of my life, I'm okay.
He goes on, the principles we have set down are guides to progress from How It Works, page 60. Most readers pronounce the word progress, but one time a newcomer pronounced it progress, as in the verb progressive. I like this one because it demonstrates that the 12 steps of recovery are also a progressive spiritual practice, just as the disease of alcoholism is progressive. Lastly, my favorite of all from page 31 of the big book. We do not like to pronounce any individual an alcoholic, but you can quickly diagnose yourself. Step over to the nearest bathroom and try some controlled drinking. The original text is, of course, step over to the nearest bar room and try some controlled drinking. A reader made this mistake at a meeting one night, and I was in stitches. Later, I realized how many stories I had heard where newcomers who, by various forms of self-deception and experimentation, shared that the big book says it's okay to try some controlled drinking. Many ended up staying out of AA for years. These days, many folks are not lucky enough to make it back after a night of controlled drinking, as a few controlled drinks can easily lead to other behaviors, drugs, which can quickly turn fatal, especially if the experimenter has been away from that lifestyle for a period of time. So from time to time, I bring this divine mistake to the attention of newcomers and suggest that if they can relate to controlled drinking in the nearest bathroom, which is a part of my drinking story and many others, then there's no need to try this experiment. That's alcoholic enough. Instead, I suggest that if they want to experiment, they might want to consider the one mentioned on page 31 and try leaving liquor alone for 1 year.
You know, it goes on and says, and many of us cannot do that. We probably can't make it a week.
Yeah, and the whole ballroom versus bathroom, because sometimes people drink mouthwash. I've heard of those stories.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like the bathroom because it had that mirror. And I tell you, I really didn't like looking at myself when I was at the end of my drinking.
The sneaking. I'm going to sneak into the bathroom and drink.
Yeah. And I've tried the controlled drink experiment too when I was in active alcoholism. So I went to the bar and I said, I'm an alcoholic. I will not be able to only have one drink. So I was like, all we got to do is go here and have one drink. I definitely failed. I went there, I had that one drink, and I was visibly shaking. I had a visceral reaction where I could not help myself but to drink another drink. And then I stopped at this 7-Eleven and got some nightcaps on the way home too.
Absolutely.
That's the way that I came to AA, was by trying that experiment again and again. The last 4 years of my drinking were a massive attempt of controlled drinking, trying my best not to be an alcoholic. I drank to excess a lot before that, but I'd gotten married and I didn't want to lose my marriage. My wife said that if I were to lose my license, she wasn't going to drive me around. So it was a matter of time before I got caught at the amount I was drinking. So I locked down on it and tried every day to not be an alcoholic and drink 2 drinks. Failing. Finally, it was too much for me. And I said, this has me. I'm not controlling it. It's controlling me. And I came to AA. So the controlled drinking is the way I got in.
When you say to somebody, go take a couple drinks and then stop abruptly, that's the language. There are 2 problems with that. One is that the problem centers in my mind. And my getting thirsty looks like I changed my mind. I don't admit, because I can't, that I'm drinking against my will. I look back and see that. But in the moment, I think, you know what? That was a stupid idea this time. I have friends here, or they're free drinks. I always change my mind. So I never admitted that I couldn't control it. I thought I changed my mind.
I did that a lot. I changed my mind every day. But what I didn't know that I know now once I came into AA is that is what alcoholism is. If I put alcohol in my body, then I have this disease, the way that my body responds, that people who are not alcoholic, they don't respond this way. I put alcohol in, I want more. The phenomenon of craving, which I'd never heard of till I came to AA, the phenomenon of craving. I always called it one more beer.
Right.
I call it, I get thirsty.
And in truth is, I'm made differently. I'm an alcoholic. Sounds like you are, Olis.
I'm not like the other kids on.
Sounds like you are, Elizabeth.
Absolutely. Yes.
Well, yeah. Elizabeth, thank you for coming on the podcast today and sharing your story.
I really, really appreciate meeting you. And, you know, I want to just also thank Joe. Like, Joe, what a great letter. We really, really appreciate you writing in. And you also asked another question, which I think that we should answer. P.S. Does the Grapevine podcast feature the collective or the collected voices of AA? I'm eager to answer that because when I first got here and I was misreading the script, because the big book's not the only thing that's misread, I said collective. And that is not what we are. No. We are the collected voices of Alcoholics Anonymous. Elizabeth, thank you for being part of the Alcoholic Voices we collect.
Yeah, thanks for having me and keeping me sober today. I appreciate it.
The Grapevine and Lavinia apps are now available for both iOS and Android phones.
To get yours, go to the App Store on your phone and search for AA Grapevine or Lavinia.
My wife and Al-Anon told me I was narcissistic and self-centered.
Oh, what did you say?
Well, I said that's okay, as long as it doesn't affect me.
It's really not that funny.
Thanks for joining us. The AA Grapevine Half Hour Variety Hour is posted every Monday and is produced by AA Grapevine, Inc. We don't speak for AA as a whole. We share the experience, strength, and hope of members to help others recover from alcoholism. All things Grapevine are available at aagrapevine.org, including our app and how to get in touch with us. Find us on Instagram and YouTube. If you want to know more about AA, visit aa.org or search online for Alcoholics Anonymous and your city.